Porsche is one of the most recognized car brands in the world today. Not only for the community around them, but for the cars themselves. Porsche is known for a lot of different things, like the car model, the 911, as well as for the very nice community that houses them. However, the most known thing that they're known for is their timeless design. Since their designs are so timeless, I've always wondered one thing. How far has Porsche come in a certain time period, like for example, a decade, 10 years? Today, we are going to be answering that question with these two cars behind me. On my right, I have a 2007 Porsche Boxster S. This is the 987 generation. And then on my left, I have a 2017 Porsche 718 Boxster. Today, we are going to find out how far has Porsche come in 10 years with the Boxster. This is Shep's Tech Cars, and I hope you guys do enjoy this video. First, start off with the first thing that we can compare both of these cars to, and that is the key fobs. So let's take a look at the modern day Porsche key fob that goes to the 718 Boxster. This is what the modern day Porsche key fob looks like, and probably every other Porsche key fob on the market today. It is in the shape of a car, as you can see, and has 4 buttons: lock, unlock, and the 2 trunks. And then there's a panic button on the bottom, so 5 buttons. I actually really like this key. However, what I don't like is the price tag of it. That's $450 to replace it if you lose it, which makes me really not want to damage this that much. This is the 2007 Boxster key. As you can see, it has a key on it and 3 buttons total, and the Porsche logo. That's basically it. So in the keys, you can already tell basically how this review is gonna go. Let's start off by comparing the two cars' exteriors. Let's start off with the 2007 Boxster. At the front of it, it does look very rounded. I mean, every angle I would definitely say I see is definitely rounded. I mean, definitely these vents, and there aren't a lot of cutouts for vents either. As you can see, there's here, through here, and then over here at the exact same thing, but mainly everything looks definitely very small and rounded, unlike the newer 718, which I'll get to in a second. But overall, I do actually like the front end of this car, especially from further away. It does look very sporty. Moving on to the front of the 718, and I have to say, I'm not too big of a fan of the front of this car, and I'll tell you why. It's definitely more angular, I guess you can probably say. I mean, the vents, they're just so many. I mean, there's on this side, the middle here is interesting, is it's blocked off, and then on this side is vents. But also, look at all these creases for the running lights. As you can see, nowadays modern day cars have running lights, but look at this entire crease that had to come just to make this fit, which is very interesting. I mean, I honestly, as well as the headlights compared to the other, the older one, are definitely a lot bigger. And the entire whole front of the car, honestly, just looks a lot bigger, but also looks a lot more mean. This one looks a little bit more happy. Now, moving on to the side of the 718, I'm going to start with the newer one, of course. And obviously, as you can see, nothing has really changed. I mean, everything is where it should be since 10 years ago, and that's how it should be. As you can, the air intake is still in the exact same place. The door handle is not moved. The wing mirror is not lower or higher. The wheels are obviously in the exact same place. The side skirt is still very, very subtle. I mean, honestly, I'll get to the older 987 Boxster in a second, but nothing has really changed on the side of the car, which is very surprising, but very good. Side profile of the 987 Boxster, as you can see, the intake is still in the same place, the door handle is still in the same place, the wing mirror is the same thing. I'm on the other side of the car, so the gas cap's here, but the gas cap, as you can see, is both in the same spots, which is hilarious, but also very good. Porsche has learned that there is nothing wrong with the placement of the gas cap, so why change it? But overall, the side profile of both of these cars, very, very similar. you can even see where the little indicator is right here, the reflector, still in the same place. That is hilarious. Moving on to the backs of both cars, the theme stays the same. I'm going to start off with the 2007 Boxster. There isn't a lot going on. All you really see is the sloping rear end of it, the two lights which are like molded with the bodywork, and then the two center exit exhaust, and then these, which basically had to be mandatory to make the car longer because the car was like a European car. Anyways, but overall, they've really stayed the same over the course of 10 years. Moving on to the newer 718, there is actually a definite change. It is a lot more angular. It looks a lot more mean. For example, the lights don't go with the body. Well, actually, no, they kind of do, but they don't go slope down. There's a little lip spoiler over here. The lettering for the Porsche, it doesn't say Porsche on the back of this car, only on the 718. The 718 Boxster has been moved down to the lower bumper from the rear trunk. The center exit exhaust is still in the same place. And then this piece has been changed to like this black scratchy plastic from body color, which, I mean, this could be upgraded because it's a Boxster S and this is a base Boxster, but I think I've seen Boxster S's in a newer 718 generation, and it still has this black scratchy plastic. No idea why, but again, a change in 10 years, so yeah, very interesting. Now let's move on to some major changes in the interiors of both cars. Now let's move on to the interiors, and as you can see, overall, it's gonna look very similar, but there's gonna be some major differences within them, not like small differences like on the outside. These are gonna be major differences. And starting off with the door panel, which is nicely lined in leather. It's all like leather padded and everything like that. You have the door handle and the two window switches and the mirror controls up here. And then the Bose sound system, which was an option in these but back in the day. But overall, the door panel has nothing really. It's a pretty standard Porsche door panel. 718 door panel, it looks very similar. However, it is a little bit more modern and updated. For example, you can see so is lined in the same padded material and your same chrome door handle. However, since this one has automatic seats with the premium package, you have your memory controls over here, you have your mirror controls and window controls over here, and two blank switches, because this is the exact same mirror controls they take out of the 911 991.2 generation. And then over here they've integrated some storage. You have some storage here and then some storage but behind the Bose sound system, which is an option with these nowadays. But overall, the door panel, very similar, just a little bit more updated on the 718. There is actually storage right here. It's just a bigger bin, and there isn't storage right there. But moving on to the seats, this 2007 Boxster is equipped with the really rare GT2 Sport seats, which have the hard backs, which I believe are super rare. I think they go for like $5 grand on eBay or something for a set. But yeah, if they don't, I know these seats are really rare, and most Porsche purists, I believe, sell them. But since these are the GT2 seats, they are manual with the automatic backrest. Moving on, down here you have your front and trunk switch, and then over here your lights and where you put your key, so on and so forth. Same thing kind of goes with this one. You have your Boxster door sill. This switch, which looks exactly like the same switch in the 2007 Boxster. It's even in the same location. Since this one has the has the premium package, it does have the automatic like 14-way power seats, and your light control, which have been minimized, which I've been noticed, it's a little bit smaller now and more compact, and that's where you put the key. If you do have the keyless entry and drive package, you would have a little like lever you turn, but since this one doesn't have the keyless entry and drive package, this is what it looks like. You just stick the key and then turn to start. Now we get into some major differences as I step inside here. First of all, this steering wheel, it does look very old. Honestly, this is probably the only thing in the car that looks the oldest, is that most modern day cars have buttons on the steering wheel. This one doesn't. And what's interesting is that this piece of down here is not the same color to up here. Since this is a Boxster S, you do have the white analog gauges with part digital speed readout, and then all your stock for your cruise control and your wipers and mirrors and etc. stuff like that. Same goes for over here. This is the 718 Boxster, and as you can see, you have a very modern Porsche steering wheel with all of your controls on the steering wheel, your Bluetooth controls, and your controls for up in this display over here. The speedometer has two gauges with part digital readouts and then a part digital screen over here. And what's interesting is this one has three stocks. This cruise control stock looks like it's the exact same out of the 2007, and then you have your turn signal stock, your voice activation stock, and then your wipers, which have been moved into here. So it's interesting how they combined it, that they actually flip-flop. The turn signal was over here and the wipers were over here. They actually flip-flopped them, which is kind of interesting. This is the moment I think you probably all have been waiting for, and that is the center console. This is probably how you can tell it is from 2007, as there is nothing modern in here at all. This is basically called a center stack because everything is stacked on top of each other. Honestly, this is the part of the car where I think it's where you can tell it hasn't aged well, but still, nonetheless, it still is very good quality and still is really easy to use. You have your heated seat button, all your air conditioning controls down here, and then all your radio controls up here, your two air vents, the dash, which is all soft material, the glove box, the cup holders, which still pop out like that. And that doesn't go back up. Oops. Anyways, down here, this one has a true 6-speed manual with some storage there, and your ashtray for a cigarette lighter, and then storage back here. Overall, and then same thing goes on that side. So overall, this interior, I mean, I guess you can probably have said that it has aged pretty well, apart from that center stack. Now, this is where the most change happens when we go back to the 718 Boxster. Porsche has aged well here. Coming inside here, you have this airplane style, like cockpit almost, that the dash basically swoops down, separating between you and your passenger over here. I love this center stack, honestly, or this center console. It looks brilliant. Everything is so modern and up to date, but it's not too modern. The air vents are still basically in the same spot. The dashboard's the same material. You still have the very annoying over-engineered cup holders with this that still pop out of the dashboard. But the main difference is this center screen, which has Apple CarPlay, navigation, satellite radio, etc., which you can control right here. You can put in SD cards, so you can download music and everything. Down here, you have your air conditioning controls, your heated and ventilated seats, and then over here, this is where your automatic or manual transmission would be. This one has the PDK automatic, and then down here you have all these other controls where you can control the auto start stop, the spoiler, the lock and the hazard, the roof controls, and the sport and traction control off. Your ashtray is moved to here, and your storage right there. So overall, the 718 has a really, really well updated interior, which I actually do prefer over the 2007 Boxster. This is perfect for me, and I honestly like the more modern updated interiors these days. Actually, one thing I want to point out before I move on to some other aspects about this car, these cars, and that is the center console and overall interior quality. In the 2007 Boxster, I'm sure back in 2007, this car had the top quality then. However, there are some parts, like out of the open, that are just not okay. For example, this center console, which is just a kind of a cheap plastic, and it scratches super easily. Same thing with down over here, cheap plastic kind of everywhere. Moving on to the 718, you can see that obviously Porsche does not do a cheap plastic. It is all, there's actually some aluminum trim, and this is all wrapped in a nice high quality leather. Same thing with down there. So it's very nice that Porsche has actually found out that that quality back then wasn't so good, and they finally changed it to, you know, make it top notch, make it better, and still make it like rival all the other luxury car brands today. All right, let's move on to the two trunks in these cars. Starting out with the 2007 one, you can open both trunks from inside here with this little control panel, and as you can see, they pop open, and once they're popped open, all you have to do is lift it up and they're magically open, and shut it down just like that. Same thing kind of with the front, except there's a small little latch you have to pull, and boom, open, easily done, and easy. Now with the 718 Boxster, obviously since that way had no issues, why change it? So that's what Porsche didn't do. They didn't change it. So as you can see, same control panel, except it has some aluminum on it. And as you can see, it opens slightly up. You can open it, see, get your stuff, and shut it. Same thing with the front. As you can see, there's a little latch you have to pull under here. There it is, magically in there. We have a car cover in there right now, and shut it down. So very similar, basically the exact same system to open and closing the fronts. And it's going to be interesting too, is you can actually do them from the key on both cars. That is something that basically didn't change over 10 years. A slight change these cars had, and I want to start off with the 718 Boxster. So let's basically just fire it up into its ignition, and that is the convertible top. So if you want to put it up, it automatically raises up, and your sealed side, as you can see, it automatically latches down, and the windows come right up. No problem at all. However, with the 2007 Boxster, they hadn't thought of automatic top in releases yet. So as you can see, if you put it in here and try to put the roof up, as you can see, it automatically raises up, and it's stuck at this position. Now you have to manually latch it down, and it securely fastens down, then the windows go up. So it's very interesting that it took them 10 years to figure out how that they had to put an automatic latch for the convertible top. Now we come to the most controversial part of this review, and that is comparing the two engines, because on the surface these cars may be very similar, but Porsche made a move in 2017 where it has changed the Boxster basically since then. So in this car you have a 3-liter flat 6. However, in this car you have a 2-liter turbocharged engine out of a Subaru WRX. So right now I'm going to compare the sound on both cars, starting with the 2007, then moving over to the 2017, and we're going to compare both notes to see how different they sound. And just reminding you, there are two different engines. This one has a Subaru engine, and this one has a Porsche made engine. Let's start off with the 2007 Boxster. I'm leaving the camera right there. This is the sound note of a 2007 Porsche Boxster. So it is a very, very nice tone, basically. It's a Porsche made engine. Porsche makes great engines, but in 2017 Porsche made a terrible move, and they moved to a 2-liter turbocharged engine for the facelifted 718. So listen to how this sounds compared to the really, really well Porsche made engine. Alright, this is the sound note of a 2017 Porsche 718 Boxster with the 2-liter turbo out of a Subaru WRX. Now, don't get me wrong, that sounded amazing, but it's not the sound for this car. Let me explain. So, ever since they created the Boxster in 1999 to 2000, I would say 16, Porsche have used a 3-liter flat 6 engine, which is basically the exact same engines you find in the higher end 911s. They're just tuned down to, well, they're just tuned down for the Boxster. So it's that Porsche sound that you would hear down the road. It's that Porsche made engine, and that's what Porsche has been using for many years now. However, in 2017, due to fuel emissions and EPA, etc., Porsche had to ditch that beautiful 3-liter flat 6 and put in a 2-liter turbocharged engine from, you guessed it, a Subaru WRX. That, you know, that high-end Subaru sedan? Yep. Rallycross sedan, yep, that exact engine is in there. A Boxster 2-liter turbocharged engine. And because of this car has definitely not been the same as other Boxsters. In fact, it's actually been worse, in my opinion. The engine really entitles what the Boxster was, and really was supposed to make the Boxster a Boxster. It was supposed to be the 2-seater mid-engine sports car. But because of this engine, you don't have that same Porsche sound, Porsche feel, Porsche handling, etc. Like with the 2007 Boxster. For example, with those pops and bangs you were hearing with the 2017 Boxster, those aren't natural engine noise. That's just a computer telling the engine to make all those pops all at those times. The normal flat 6 engine at different rates of the RPM, you would hear all these different sounds and would sound absolutely crisp and amazing. But unlike this, where you start up and you think, oh, that sounds like a Beetle, and then you think, oh, actually no, sounds like a Subaru, and you're thinking, why did they put a Subaru engine in this car? It's almost like they've ruined it. I mean, you get where I'm coming from. You're not getting it. Think about it this way. Imagine yourself and your personality in yourself. And if you have a sibling, or if you have a sibling like me, like a brother, take your personality and put it in your brother, and then vice versa, right? So I have my brother's personality. Me and my brother don't act the same, we don't sound the same, we have different likes and interests, and so we're different in every single way. So if I take my brother's personality and put it in me, I'm definitely not gonna act the same as with my personality. That's just like the engines in these two Boxsters. If you have a Porsche-made engine mated to a Porsche-made body, and it is the perfect bread and butter. They perfectly go together like 2 shoes and 2 socks. Whereas with the 718 Boxster, you have a Porsche body, Porsche interior, well-made Porsche sports car. But then you have this Subaru turbocharged engine, which it doesn't go together. It doesn't have that same Porsche feel. So you're basically kind of have this, like, not so well put together car compared to the Boxster S. And because of this engine, so many people have stayed away from buying the 718 Boxster and have bought older models, or have splurged and bought the GTS model, which is over $80,000. Now, I do want to say that Porsche actually brought back that engine and has now put it in all of their newer models. For example, there is an option now for the GTS trim, the highest trim, which is over 80 grand, called the 718 Boxster GTS 4.0, and same thing for the Boxster Spider. That has this flat 6 engine, but for the base Boxster, Boxster S, and Boxster T, you're stuck with this Subaru engine, which honestly is just not great. Into the video where I give my final thoughts on both these cars. Now, and I'm gonna tell you guys which one I would rather take home today if I had the choice to. Now, both of these cars are very similar. Both of these cars are amazing, and you cannot go wrong with either of them. One of them is timeless on the outside, and then when you look in the inside, it shows some dated that it is from 2007, whereas the other one is modern day. It's up to the trends, and even though it is currently, it's 17, so 21, 20, 19, 18, even though it is 4 years old, it still looks like it just rolled out of the factory. One thing that is definitely good though is that Porsche did not change a lot of the things with these two cars. Actually, a lot of the things are actually shared between these two cars that they haven't changed. For example, these headlight washers are the exact same as on the older 2007 Boxster. The latches for the front trunks, they're the same. Same thing with the interior. These latches that you can undo the front trunks down here, they are the exact same in both cars. What else is the exact same? And mainly the way the roofs come up is very similar as well. So there are, that's a great thing about these is that mainly that since nothing really needed to be changed, everything's been working with these for the past 10 years. Why change it? Which is why they've kept a lot of the same things, and which is why they look very similar, and this is part of their timeless design with these cars. You can't really, if I told you, if I brought a non-car person here, I bet they wouldn't tell from the outside of these cars, which one's the newer one and which one's the older one. They both look absolutely timeless. Before I get into the one that I would choose, I just want to talk quickly on pricing. I'm gonna start off with how much these cars were new, then I'll get to the prices that you can pay for them today. So let's start off with the prices they were new. If you're gonna want a 2007 Boxster S back in 2007, you would have to pay around $59,260, which I have no idea how much that is in modern day, but I'll put up on the screen and I'll show you, and then you can see how much it is in modern day today. If you wanted a 2017 Porsche Boxster, 2017 Porsche Boxster, or 718 Boxster. Starting prices on these were, I believe, was like 61, I believe was starting price. This one you're seeing is 73.9 fully after options, and then this one I have no idea, but I'm gonna say it's around 62. So, but in today's prices, my grandfather paid $21,000 for this Boxster with 39,000 miles on it, and it currently has 43,000. With our 718 Boxster, it was 73,000 new. Just before they spiked up in value, we paid $54,900 for this car. So honestly, very good prices on both of them. They've both appreciated quite a bit, but not so. But however, if you actually wanted to sell one of these today, you could probably get more than what you paid for it, which is actually very surprising. However, we didn't. So, I mean, you can try, but finally, before I end off this review of the comparing both of these cars, I want to tell you guys which one I would choose between these two, the 2007 Porsche Boxster S or 2017 718 Boxster. And it would have to be the 2007 Porsche Boxster S. Sorry, Mom. This car, in my opinion, is probably the best deals right now on the car market you can buy. You can find these for around $19,000 to $23,000, and honestly, I mean, what you're getting for the price is an absolutely perfectly made sports car. It still has that Porsche quality where it doesn't even rattle. After over 10 years, it hasn't even rattled. It has a perfectly made engine, an amazing sound, and overall, an amazing car inside and out. Sure, it looks very dated, but you can easily get Apple CarPlay installed in here and easily get a backup camera retrofitted. So, but overall, I would 100% go with this. The looks, in my opinion, are amazing for the price and the sound, the handling. You just, with the manual transmission, you just can't beat an older sports car like this, because nowadays with all this technology and everything, it's kind of taking over almost, in my opinion. So it's the sports carness is not as pure, whereas this, it's absolutely pure. It's a sports car mainly. So I would 100% go with one of these compared to a 718. But what do you guys think? Which one would you go with? A 2007 Boxster or 2017 Boxster? Let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. My voice is dead after reviewing these two. Let me just take a look at this view. That is a view that you can't beat. If you guys did enjoy this video, if you did, smash that like button, comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.